Well, first, before we start this video, I want to give a shout out to MJF, who finally became AEW World Champion. It's been a long road for MJF ever since, well, the inception of AEW. Everybody thinking, when is he getting the belt? When is he going to be World Champion? A lot of people thought it was in 2020. I guess it was too soon, but finally, he is now World Champion. So enough MJF dick riding. Let's start with the actual video. In AEW, is babyface and heels important? And the reason why I'm talking about this is after watching Full Gear, I have some questions, honestly. Now, those questions are stemming on who is the babyface and who is the heel, and also who are we supposed to boo and cheer for, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of that was prevalent in Full Gear. So what are the examples? Well, some of the examples are Britt Baker versus Saraya or whatever she's called, Paige. I honestly don't know who to boo or cheer for, because at the one hand, you have this babyface comeback. She hasn't wrestled in like 7 years. She's finally back, baby. And then you have Britt Baker, who's supposed to be defending AEW. She's the AEW knight or something, you know, the white knight for AEW. But yet she's like a heel nonetheless. She's still doing the DMD. She still has her goons in Reba. So, but I don't know, what are we supposed to cheer for Britt Baker? Like, I know Saraya in the post scrum said, well, that's the beauty of these things, is that you're supposed to cheer and boo whoever you want. And I guess that's true, but like, what narrative are you gonna put? For example, if you're gonna do an angle and they just boo you even though you're supposed to be the babyface of that situation, you know what I'm saying? I know in that story they're saying that, oh, you get to pick a side on who you want to be with, you know, who's your favorite wrestler, you get to be a part of that. And I guess that's fine and all, but like, it's really tiring and confusing, because it also depends on the match itself. Because what if Britt Baker, she's like this babyface we're supposed to like, apparently, and she's over there cheating, doing dastardly things, hitting like neck breakers, even though, you know, you have a very sensitive and really special neck, you know, that was a part of like surgery. That's the reason you retired. And she's attacking that like a heel. And then Saraya's over there doing babyface stuff, like the comebacks and her powering through the pain, but she's getting booed. I don't know, that's just confusing, and it's just stupid. Another example is like Bryan Danielson. Is Bryan Danielson a heel or a babyface, or is he a tweener? Because he's part of the good guy club, the combat club, but he comes in the bad guy tunnel, you know what I'm saying? And it would have been cool if he was like this loner type of guy who only teams up with them because they share the same ideals, but he's more babyface and everybody likes him, but yeah, he's coming out the heel tunnel. Like, if he was getting booed or something, like, why am I cheering or booing this guy? I know you get, as Saraya said, you're picking and choosing who you want. It's just, in my head, it's so confusing who we're supposed to root for and cheer for, especially when they're acting a certain way. And I'll get to MJF in a minute, but like, as for example, Saraya or Bryan Danielson, they're over there cheering with the people, they're getting the support they need, they're fan favorites, yet they're doing dastardly things, or they're getting booed, or as I said, they're doing dastardly things. The heels, they're being the bad guys, they're talking all this shit, they're even talking shit about the fans, and yet they're, you know, cheering them. It's kind of like Chris Jericho and the whole Judas thing. I saw this promo or like interview that Chris Jericho did, saying that he, as a heel, he has Judas, and it makes sense because his character is an egomaniacal old man who still wants the glory even though he's in his 50s. That makes sense, in my opinion, why he has people singing Judas. It's not his fault that people are singing it. He likes it because it's making it apparent that they like him, and that's what he wants. He wants to be liked. So you have situations like that where it's fine, I guess, getting cheered or anything. Kind of like with Seth Rollins, remember? He was a heel for the most of the part. I mean, he was literally over there making fun of Matt Riddle and all these other guys, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes. He's over there bullying them with all their like favorite icons and beating the shit out of them. And yet people are over there singing his song. Then he finally turns babyface, so I guess there's that, but it's really confusing. And probably the biggest confusing part of this is MJF himself. I kind of feel like the original plan was supposed to be MJF versus CM Punk at Full Gear for the World Championship, but after, well, the kids being kids, that whole situation, we had to go into Jon Moxley, and it's fine because there is history between them. You know, Jon Moxley beat MJF before it was his first loss technically, and you have that storyline of MJF, has he grown from that previous encounter, and what is he doing? Is he planning something with William Regal? There's that situation, so it makes that interesting. But the problem that I have with it of MJF is I don't think he wants to be a babyface. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he prefers being a heel, and I think that's what he wants to be. He wants to be a heel. He's been practicing for his, like, the majority of his wrestling career. He's been a heel. He's never been a babyface, and now he has to be, you know, freaking Diesel 1995 over there singing Christmas or something. Like, why is he being a babyface? And I know it's honestly, wrestling fans, Brian Danielson is correct. You're all fickle, because like you have this like cool MJF heel, yet you're cheering him. And I know in Full Gear it was MJF territory, so you really can't, you know, do anything about him and boo because it's his home territory. So you're gonna have to chalk it up with that. But it's just so confusing with MJF. Like, you can tell he just wants to be a heel and he wants to be booed. And honestly, that's what the majority of the people that want. I don't know why they're cheering MJF. I feel like the reason why is he's giving Stone Cold Rock vibes. You know, back in the early 2000s, you had The Rock who was over there laying the smackdown, talking all this shit. That's exactly what MJF is. Honestly, he's over there talking all this shit to his opponents, to Moxley, to the Firm, to anyone in the AEW locker room, to Tony Khan himself. He talks shit about a lot of people, and I think a lot of people like that smart ass MJF. If MJF goes back into being Mr. Babyface, turns into Mr. Babyface, I feel like the people will boo him, you know? So I guess the best reaction for MJF is to be himself, to be this dick. The question is he going to be against the fans? Is he gonna pull a Diesel where, you know, he's gonna be like, well, my fans that love me, I love them, but if you don't, go screw yourself. Something like that. Is that what MJF is gonna do? What's William Regal gonna do? You know, this is before the Thanksgiving Dynamite. Hopefully I can get this video out. But yeah, man, this situation is horrendous. AEW has, honestly, AEW ever since All Out has been struggling. And there's a lot of other problems. You know, there's the Brawl Out situation. There's Ring of Honor's exposure. There's the classic stuff that I already mentioned, like the women's division being bad. Matches are way too long. Some storylines have a horrible ending or they don't make any sense. You know, stuff like that. So there's a lot we can discuss about how bad AEW is, but that's honestly for another video and I don't want to talk about it anymore. This was just me ranting about this whole heel babyface situation that I had when watching Full Gear, and I realized that this is something that Tony Khan and AEW is going to have to face. Is how are they going to handle the fickle fans on their shows? You know, how are they going to deal with heel MJF who's getting cheered, or Saraya the Conquering, the returning babyface getting booed? You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Oh, also I want to give a huge shout out to #1 waifu Jamie Hayter for being AEW Women's Champion. I honestly thought she was gonna lose, but maybe they're gonna do this big angle where Britt Baker's pretending to be her friend so she can get the belt, and then there's this big explosion. You know, the best friends explode. But my question is, what's Thunder Rosa gonna be doing? Because Thunder Rosa has heat with both Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, so that's gonna be interesting. Heck, I want to do a video on that situation. A lot of people say CM Punk versus the Elite, or Andrade versus like Sammy Guevara, or Sammy Guevara versus the AEW locker room. But one of the most hidden but still heated rivalries, I guess, or arguments that is happening is Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. So that's something you should look forward to. Hopefully I could get information about that because most of it is surface level. So with that being said, bye.